Regardless of what anyone thinks about masks, lockdowns, social distancing, mass germ phobia, these things are changing society, and not for the better. While we're distracted by petty bickering about medicine and science, our global economy is being destroyed. The global economy is not something over there. It is what you and I rely on for everything we have, everything we buy, everything we need in the future, everything we eat, wear, drive, sleep on, consume, and use. That thing that makes all of that stuff for you is being destroyed by people who think that perfectly healthy people need to be self-isolated. Call it quarantines, lockdowns, reasonable precautions, call it whatever you want. It is destroying your life and your future right now. As some wise person once said, we can only have stuff when we make stuff. Do we really not realize our dependency on commerce even when we buy things in stores, when we order things online? When we are completely dependent on goods and services to maintain our standard of living, do we not realize that if we shut down commerce, we are shutting down the lifelines that provide for us? Do we really think we can shut down businesses by the millions and still get the things we need when we need them? Are we that completely out of touch with reality? I'm not talking about designer handbags. I'm talking about food. Every essential household product, even the raw materials that everything is made of. Can we shut all that down and that won't affect you? If we are to believe the death count, several hundred thousand people have died from COVID-19. So we bring food production to a halt and risk a global famine where tens of millions of people could starve to death? There's some very bad mathematics in this lockdown idea. We have never locked down the entire world before. We are playing with dynamite. The way humanity works is that when we have a disaster, an emergency, or a crisis over here, people over there send aid. When you shut down the whole world, there is no one left to send aid. If we starve, everyone starves. If we have a crisis, everyone has a crisis. So this will not just be a crisis, it will be a crisis where no one can help you. Very few people seem to be aware of the significance of this, especially people in government who think they are supposed to make decisions and policies even when they're totally unprepared to do so. It would be a good idea if they would stop making policies until they can get a clear view of what they are doing. Here is something your brilliant public official never thought of. While we shut down most of the world's production, are we able to shut down our need for goods and services? Do we stop needing the work people do because they were told not to work? There is nothing we needed in 2019 that we don't need today. Were they making too much food in 2019? Too many consumer goods in 2019? No, that means they are making too little now. There won't be enough. That is bad. That could get worse than we imagine. Everything has consequences, but few things have more consequences than shutting down the planet. But the pandemic pushers do not even seem to be capable of considering the consequences of their policies. Is it not obvious that the lockdown will cause a major crisis in supply and that millions of people are no longer going to be able to get what they need? The world has survived far worse diseases than COVID-19. A global lockdown was never anyone's idea of a rational solution because the damage a global lockdown causes is much greater than the damage that any disease can cause. We need to open our society back up, and we need to do it fast. We need to fully open up. No masks, no social distancing, no waiting for some toxic, untested vaccination. If COVID-19 is natural, it will run its course. If it is some kind of biological warfare, we need to find out who is doing that and stop them. But we can't sit at home and think that our lives will not be thrown into desperate chaos when the shortages start to hit us. Whether you realize it or not, commerce is something you need to survive. Do you have a water well? Do you grow your own food? Do you make your own clothing, healthcare, transportation? Do you make your own natural gas and electricity? Are you totally self-sufficient? I don't know anyone who is. But that is what you have to be if you're going to keep it all locked down, because Every day we play germ boogeyman, more businesses are closing permanently. The lockdown is going to hurt you if it has not already done so. It is going to hurt everyone you know and love. Take off the mask, walk out the door, and do your part to turn the world back on. Your survival may depend on that. My videos are sponsored by long-term emergency storage food at the website preparewithjerry.com. Wholesome, appetizing food prepared and packaged for a 25-year storage lifespan, protecting you better than an insurance policy because you can't eat an insurance policy. Better than your police department because your police simply can't help everybody when things get really bad. The idea is that no matter what happens, no matter how sudden, you will have food in the house. A month's worth of food, 2 months or more, whatever works for the size of your family and your desire to be prepared. When store shelves are empty or when it's not safe to go out, you don't have to worry. You and your family will be fed. Never before have we seen so many disruptions at once, like the lockdowns, pandemics, social unrest, foolish edicts by public officials, millions of people out of work, businesses failing, supply chain disruptions. And with things like this going on, we all have to decide how to react and how to prepare. The answer is not to live in fear, it's just to be prepared and then go on with your life. Go to the website preparewithjerry.com. Find the solution that fits your needs and then go on with your life.